didn't start off the episode properly, bro.
Listen, we're not really getting started until you hit the famous bar.
Wow. Is this guy being serious?
I think so. I don't know. I don't know if I have the energy for that right now.
I mean, why won't you do it?
Do
Just take
what?
the hit the famous bar, bro.
Yo, Laurent!
Oh my
Yo, what do you say, bro? How you doing? How you feeling today, Laurent?
Honestly, bro, I want to do it, but now that you've awakened the beast in me, I'm here. We're here. Chelsea, London is here. That's right. Advancing the knockout stage of the Club World Cup. So that's how I'm feeling, bitches. I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling blessed, bro.
Yo,
Men's
who's Chelsea
men,
facing first round?
men's are on their way to couldn't give a damn till it's time.
Oh
Cause
my
you
gosh,
already
bro.
know, bro. You already know. Funny enough, y'all asked me the same question, right? Before the tournament started, and I ended up catching all three games. So,
Yo, who did Chelsea play in all three of those games?
wow, these are questions that you guys are actually asking, bro. That's
But you said you
crazy.
watched this, so you should know who they
That's
faced.
crazy. Yeah, I know who we face, and we face your boy Olivier Giroud, by the way. Wink,
What
wink.
team? What team is he on?
Yeah, wink, wink. Oh, come on, bro. All right,
Prime,
really,
no, answer the question. He's asking a
really,
question. Answer.
bro. The team that he's on is in the
Oh,
country that is hosting the tournament, bro.
what country is that?
Bro, it's the only country. Come on, like really? Like nah, like we're not
You
we're not
see,
gonna go there. We're
look at
not
these
gonna go there.
deflection tactics, fam.
It's
Answer
not
the
Bro,
question we're
deflection.
asking
It's
you.
not deflection. Is that I know? Yeah, it's a gold, right? They have the gold colors.
Okay.
yo,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
you
I'll
know,
tell you
there's
enough,
one,
but I'm not gonna give you the name.
bro. There's one
Just say you
team.
don't know, fam. That's fine.
Yeah,
There's one team that he
yeah.
knows.
Let's. Huh?
I said there's one team that you know the name of because you caught a straight L from an ex-Arsenal player.
Mm.
Don't give him any more hints, bro.
What team is that? Yo, don't look at your phone. Don't look at
I'm
your
not
phone.
looking at my phone, but I
Yo,
like I
this
just
guy
said, I'm
is
not
dead
answering these
ass looking at
questions.
his phone, bro.
I'm not answering these questions, bro. All I
Why?
said is Olivier Giroud, with what's it called? Our ex-player was actually managing that team, I swear. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was our ex-player that was managing that team.
Which team?
Which team? I don't know what team you're talking about.
The guy that used to play for Atletico Madrid and he played for us for a bit. He was a left back.
Is coaching who?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the team that Olivier Giroud was on. I'm pretty sure that was the team.
What team is that, fam?
Yeah, it's all good. I know the
It's
team.
not serious.
Do you know the team?
Oh
You
yeah,
know
I
the
know the
team.
team. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, I know the team too.
Oh,
What
okay.
team?
What team?
See, this is a different murder. If I ask for extensions is one thing, but to deflect from the questions entirely, this is a whole different. Like Laurent's getting kicked out of the class at this point.
Yo,
Like what?
he's on a different level. He's on a different stream. He's a true Chelsea fan. That's all they know how to do. Deflect, deflect, deflect.
Hey man, watch us deflect our way to a title, bro. To another title. And how many have y'all won in the last? Oh, jeez, that's crazy.
Another title.
Yeah, yeah, another title, the Club World Cup, coming right
Hold on,
up.
hold on, hold on. You can't be seriously thinking that you guys are winning the Club World Cup.
Yeah, we have a solid chance. I mean, where we're at in terms of our bracket.
You're not getting past Man City or Inter, and that's who
Assuming
you
we're
would face in the semis.
yeah, bro, semis. It's either or. I think it's one of those games where you've experienced the semis, right? Against what is it, PSG?
The team that went on to win it all.
Yeah, yeah. But you realize, right? Fine margins. Anything could happen, right? So yeah, no, to say that Man City's looking good. They're looking sharp,
Your boy
especially
Ryan Turkey is fucking killing it.
yeah, but like I said, man, at that stage, and I think also what Maresca is doing, right? He's getting a bit of a rotation out of the players. He's trying different things. We're looking a bit sharp, a bit more sharper on the offensive, which is what I like to see.
And there's a possibility that because the games tonight, the Al Hilal, Salzburg, or Real Madrid, one of them could be in the bracket with you, and the other one in the bracket at the bottom bracket.
Yes,
So,
yes. Until that's
like,
decided, yeah, you're right.
so I don't know. I think you're overly confident, because The team that you're facing, Benfica, they're no slouch. And then Palmeiras and Botafogo, the South American teams have been killing it this
But
tournament
who would you say is favorite out of that side until the semis?
until the semis. From
Yeah,
like from the top four, like your side.
yeah.
Yeah, obviously Chelsea because
Okay.
they're UEFA team.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
like,
but
right?
All the UEFA teams have been favorites in the betting odds. They've been the favorites in every single game, and
Mm-hmm.
you guys lost to Flamengo,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't just lose; you got your asses handed to
Which
you.
is good. I think it's good. It's good. If that, it's these pain points that whatever it is you want to sort out at that stage of the competition, right? Because hey, you lose in a knockout match, right? That's pretty much game over. But you lose in a group stage, all right. You won the first game against Real Betis, right? You faced LA Galaxy second game, and then the third game,
This
Flamingo,
man,
right?
CJ, you want to get a good laugh?
Yeah, yeah.
This
Say
man,
it. I think we're on the same page.
hold on. This man looked at his phone and said LA
LA
Galaxy.
Galaxy, fam. You're
It's
not
not
serious.
LA Galaxy.
This is how I know he's not. Yo, honestly, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not LA Galaxy. So if you
LA,
want, hold on, look at your phone again and correct yourself.
You're not
It's
serious.
not LA
LA,
Galaxy.
LA Galaxy, Galaxy, whatever. I couldn't care less. All I know is, right, that American team just got dealt with. Giroud wasn't saying much, and I still believe that the coach on that team was a player that we, yeah, I keep
He
forgetting his name.
wasn't.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna look up who the manager is because I think it really was.
No, it's like Steve Chernol or whatever.
Who's it? Hold on.
Imagine he answered the actual question, acting all confident as if he knew who
And he
this team
said LA
was,
Galaxy,
and
bro.
then said LA Galaxy. Yo,
It's not LA Galaxy.
this is why I said it was a good deflection tactic. Because anyhow you answered that question with the confidence that you had, and still would have gotten it wrong. Jeez.
The coach that you're alluding to, he only played in the United States and he played in Hanover.
Here, hold on.
And it's
LAFC.
called LAFC, not LA Galaxy.
Same difference, bro.
Bro,
The
so if
team,
you're
the
gonna
team, the
if,
team, the team got.
listen,
Hold
the
on.
people come to listen to our podcast for facts. When you say it with your chest, you gotta make sure that you're
It's
saying facts.
Well, the fact is that we are in the knockout on our way to a semis. Like that's all the Chelsea fans care about, bro. Like all of these, knowing like these pop quiz questions that truly at the end of the day, right?
Bro, how is
When it
it a pop quiz? You said you watched
Yeah,
all three games.
yeah, these are pop quiz questions, bro. These are
Oh
pop quiz questions.
my goodness. I could literally ask CJ, Arsenal's on this, and I can ask CJ a question about this, and he would know.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You guys have your teams on lock. You guys, right? You know that.
We don't have a leg in this tournament.
No. I understand, but I'm saying, right? You guys have your teams on lock. But to me, the only team that I care for, right, that is the Chelsea. Like, so the day I butcher that, then maybe you can come for my head. Till then, so long as I know, right, Chelsea FC, and that's all, right? That's all that really matters at the end of the day, right?
All right, all right.
When it,
Enough
when it,
Chelsea.
when is Chelsea playing next?
Oh, Lee, yo, again, yo,
You
this
said
is
all yours concerned
crazy.
about Chelsea, fam. So I just want to know when
Yeah,
Chelsea plays
and we've
next.
yo, we've been through this. So
Oh my gosh.
wait, what's more important that I know when they're playing or that I actually watch the game on game day at game time?
All I'm saying is you just finished saying that you're not concerned about any other team but Chelsea, right? That's your squad. So surely you
Yes,
know when your squad is playing next in an
yes,
active
and
tournament that's currently live.
but
So you should.
again, what matters is that when the
Oh
time
my
comes, when
God.
the kickoff comes, that I show up. That's what matters, right? That's the most important part.
It just sounded like a little bit of a contradiction because you just
There's
finished saying you're
there's no
only concerned
contradiction.
about Chelsea. It's
Yeah,
only I don't care about any other club, Chelsea. Okay, so then
yeah,
surely you
but
know when Chelsea is playing next.
there's no contradiction in me saying that when it's time for when that kickoff comes, I will be at my screen. Right? That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Jeez, the goalposts have shifted slightly.
It
No,
has not shifted. Just like
listen.
how you guys did this whole exercise, right? Before the group stage, and I was there during kickoff, right? Maybe probably like 1 or 2 minutes late for like 1 or 2 games, but I was there. So,
Listen, any true football fan listening to this
oh
will
my
know
gosh.
exactly when their team plays, what team they're facing, what team they played against, what team they lost to, who scored, all those things. Any true football fan would know. But enough Chelsea talk because this isn't a Chelsea podcast. This is an Arsenal focused
Hey, listen, I was starting to
podcast.
forget, man. I was starting to forget that. Like for real. Like I'm hoping it is still an Arsenal podcast the way you guys like to bring up, the whole Chelsea. But yeah, yeah.
Um. Anyways, as always, we're joined by our deluded Chelsea fan Laurent,
Yes, sir.
uh, and my Arsenal brother CJ. The
Yo.
sane side. If you're watching this, the top side of this visual is the sane side. The bottom side. I mean, anyways. So, some good news. We can be a little optimistic, a little bit. Um, Sanity is still a little pending. We're starting to, trend towards Laurent's side with our Sanity. But finally, we can officially say we have incomings. Um, some of the sagas are over. Martin Zubimendi, since I believe what 2024, when we've been scouting him, looking at him. He's officially an Arsenal player. We got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano. The medical's done. Zubimendi is officially an Arsenal player, and I believe he's wearing number 36. Kepa, I think that's a great signing so that we can get rid of that saga. He's officially announced. And then, surprise out of nowhere, I know last podcast we were slightly talking about it that Thomas Partey is going to be actually leaving out of nowhere. And I think this is also a great signing because of his leadership and coming from a London club. Nørgaard, Christian Nørgaard from Brentford. We signed him for, I believe, the reporting is 11 million, but I believe it's 5 million up front and then, sorry, 6 million up front. And then there's 5 million with bonuses that if things go well and all the contract bonuses and stuff, it can be up to 11 million. And I think he's only on $40,000 a week, his salary, which is way less than Jorginho, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was on 150. So I don't know, CJ. I know we were talking about this quickly off air, but what do you think? Like, I mean, it's hard to, if I'm being honest, I would still like to have kept Partey, but getting another leader in the dressing room, Christian Nørgaard, international captain, he's a captain of Brentford. Like, I don't think it's not gonna hurt us. And the saga didn't drag on like how it typically does. It was very quick, dirty, get the signing in and done. So now we can actually focus on the forward line. But what's your take on it?
This one is interesting. This one is interesting because the ideal scenario would have been you would have wanted to have kept Zubimendi and Partey. And we got to look at all things from the perspective of a team trying to chase a title, as we like to allude to that we're now that team, right? Arsenal is now that club that we should be in title races. Like this isn't no more top four talk. This isn't no more trying to get into Europa League talk. This is now the cream of the crop, right? Where we're there, we're close. So I just think to myself, like, what would an elite team in those positions do? Like a Real Madrid, a Liverpool, a Man City. Um, in the ideal world, you want two, like, damn near world class players in every position if you could. So the ideal scenario would have been to keep a Zubimendi and a Partey. But on the other side of the coin, I understand what's gone on with this Partey situation, and I understand that the club and Partey have been at a standstill because Partey is demanding more wages, which Arsenal is reluctant. For the viewers, just to give you guys a bit more context of what we're talking about here, the club is reluctant to increase Partey's wages. I think Partey wants something around 220K, anywhere between 220 to 250. I think he's currently on 200, so he's one of the top earners at the club already. But his role now, if he were to sign a new contract, would be reduced to more of a squad player in rotation with Zubimendi. Zubimendi's obviously clearly been the guy to come in and be, the long-term number 6 in that position for us.
Mhm.
Um, so to have, we unfortunately we don't have the finances of a Man City, a PSG, and so on, where you can afford to pay players, 300K a week to sit on a bench. City has a Jack Grealish that costs 100 mil sitting on their bench. We can't afford to give Partey those kind of wages to be a top earner, but he's not. He's now being reduced to a squad player. That's essentially what it is. And not only that, it's if he had a healthy injury record, That's also what they're looking at as well, right? The club.
Yeah.
If he had a healthy injury record, I think he has a case to earn his wages. But he's coming off of his best season fitness wise. He played about 35 of 38 games in the league, which is rare for him. Um, so it would have been a bit of a gamble based on his injury record. Can we say, is this a one off? Will he continue to be this healthy again and play that many games again going forward? Considering he's getting older, considering he's had injury and muscular issues in the past, pretty much throughout his tenure at Arsenal, right? This season just happened to be his best. So it's a bit of a risk for the club to increase his wages on that front. And I do get that. I don't think Partey should be in a position where he's demanding increased wages. But if you got to look at the player's perspective, players will tell you this. Yeah, he's in his 30s now. He wants to look out for his family and his future. He wants to secure his wages, right? And Partey is good enough where he'll get the bag somewhere else from somebody. Some clubs will be in for him now for sure,
Yeah,
right?
Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. There's
Yeah,
a few Saudi teams.
yeah, he's still playing at a top level. So from a business perspective, I understand why the club is not doing it, and I also understand why Partey would, you know, want increased wages. His preference was to stay in London, but he's looking out for himself at the end of the day and his family in long term, and I get that. So I do understand both sides, and I understand why it's at a standstill. So from a business perspective, I get it. It's unfortunate from a footballing perspective because, like I said, you want Arsenal to show the ambition of two top players in every position. Partey is, like I said, he's established world class, one of the best number sixes in the world still.
Yep.
Right. So it's unfortunate that now we look like we are downgrading from Partey to Nørgaard. Actually, in fact, we are downgrading from Partey to Nørgaard. But how we have to try and look at it now is what we had last season was Partey and Jorginho. What we have now this year is Zubimendi and Nørgaard. So whilst Nørgaard is a downgrade on Partey, is Nørgaard an upgrade on Jorginho? That's the playing field, right? So our starting six now will be Zubimendi for Partey, and then the backups Nørgaard for Jorginho. So
And we still have Mikel Merino there. We still have Kai who can play in the left eight. We still have Declan Rice who's going to be there. So, and Norgard has more legs.
and
Jorginho
so
wasn't physical. Remember in the Newcastle games?
mhm. And I think this is a debate for. I'm glad you brought that up because this is a debate. I think for me, maybe for a different time, or even if we want to get into a little bit now. But I do have, from a footballing perspective, I do have a little bit of concerns about the shape of our midfield now. To be honest with you, because again, from the footballing side of things, Zubimendi, is he going to need time to bed in? There's a lot of risks. Our starting midfield now will be Zubimendi, Rice, and Odegaard. And in a year where we're trying to win the league, it feels like our midfield has been changing over the last 3 years, right? We've been experimenting with Kai in midfield. We lost Xhaka to bring in Kai. We got Mikel Merino. He isn't quite the solution. So we've been experimenting with our midfield for the last 3 years since Xhaka left. Our most settled midfield, I think, since Arteta's been here, has actually been Xhaka, Partey, and Odegaard. If you remember that season, that midfield three balled out. It was balanced, it had everything. Whereas now, 3 years on, we still have not settled the shape of our midfield. And going into next season, yes, we have Declan Rice, but in certain aspects, I feel like if we lose Declan Rice, we could be in trouble. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Like Declan Rice is the one consistency that you know what you're going to get from him. He's more than proved his price tag. But next season, with that starting midfield three, right now, Zubimendi is an unknown quantity. We don't know how he's going to come in and bed into the league. No doubt he will be a good player, but will he kick it off right from the jump? And that's pretty much what we need going into a season where we want to win the league. And then Odegaard, like what kind of shape is Odegaard going to come back into? So we have questions around our midfield in that sense. It's not settled. It's going to be new. Odegaard needs to get back to form, and Zubimendi needs to hit the ground running. Like I said, Declan Rice is kind of the only sure thing at the moment. And then our backups, have we downgraded our backups, or or is it comparable? Is Jorginho and Nørgaard a comparable midfield swap, right? Because if I look at our backups now going into next season, if say you need two players in every position and our starting three is out, so say Zubimendi, Rice, and Odegaard are out, who's the backup three? Nørgaard, Mikel Merino, and whoever Odegaard's backup is. We don't even really have one properly. Maybe Wanyeri. Is Nørgaard and Mikel Merino a good enough midfield to be? And if we're asking serious, uncomfortable questions, is anybody scared of a midfield of Nørgaard and Mikel Merino? There's clubs bantering us at the moment saying, the window that Arsenal's having so far, while some of these signings are necessities, some people are saying like this is like a Fulham transfer window, or like a Brentford or a mid-table club's transfer window, like a Nørgaard. Like clubs like Fulham will sign Nørgaard, and I get it. I get the joke. It's funny, but I do see as well from the footballing side of things. You lose Partey, you bring in Nørgaard. It's good. He's a good, solid Premier League player. But I do have a little bit of concerns about the quality of our midfield off the bench. Hell, I just said I have a little bit of concerns about the starting midfield and how that's going to gel once everybody gets back to form and fitness. This is why Zubimendi needs to come in early doors, get a full preseason, so we can bed in with the team. But the backup does concern me a little bit. We're never going to be in a situation, I hope, knock on wood, where all three of the backups are going to play at the same time. Like if Nørgaard can play with a Declan Rice at the same time, that should be sufficient. But injuries
You never
happens.
know if there's like Carabao Cup games or FA Cup games against like non-league or like League One teams. I can see that three playing or throwing in like a Lewis Skelly or a Wanyeri. I do take your point. Like I think if we're talking about from a technical standpoint, like technical ability, Partey and Jorginho are leaps and bounds better than Zubimendi and Nørgaard. But if we're talking about like longevity and what the vision that I'm trying to picture is Rice is mid 20s,
Mm-hmm.
Odegaard's mid 20s, Zubimendi is mid 20s. So they can stay together for the next 3, 4 years and build on that. Yes, I take your point that we're trying to go for it for this year, but seeing what I saw from Zubimendi in the Nations League and what I saw him playing against Manchester United with Sociedad, I think he's going to pick it up quick. And he's coming from the Sociedad system, and the Basque region, and that's where Arteta learned how to coach and like began his career as a football player. With the Nørgaard situation, although I do think that technically, like technical ability, he's worse than Jorginho, I do think that he has more legs, and the
Yeah,
physicality that
that's
he's
for
going
sure.
to
Yeah.
bring is going to open us up a lot more, and it's going to be a little bit more comparable to the physicality that a Declan Rice has. So I could see it. I could see, if you want to give Declan Rice a rest, because even Mikel Merino, while he is physical, he doesn't have the legs. He can hold his own a little bit, but against those pacey players, Nørgaard has proven it in Brentford, right? I think from that aspect, I can see it. And then I sent you guys this in our chat. Like Partey, 32 years old, he was on 200 pound a week. Jorginho, 33, he was on 110 pound a week. Then we brought in Zubimendi and Nørgaard. Zubimendi is going to be on 100 grand a week, and Nørgaard is going to be on 40 grand a week. So both those players are making less than Partey. And what does that open up in the grand scheme of things? Is if we're trying to get,
Mm-hmm.
a left wing and we're trying to get a striker, they're going to be asking for that 250. So also for FFP reasons, like the big picture of things, that's at least. And again, yes, I'm justifying it and coming up with a rationale, but I do see what we're going to get to it. But the other people that we're being linked with, like that's where I think that this is coming from. And I think the biggest thing, as much as I love Partey, I do agree with you. I think the biggest worry is what if he gets the bag and his fitness goes to shit,
Mm-hmm.
right? He was in a contract year, and I think that had a lot to do with his performance. But what if he gets the bag and we give him 250K, for example, and he's injured all year? We just wasted 250K on the bench, and then we'd have to bring someone in for him anyways. Whereas Nørgaard has a very good injury record, knock on wood. Same thing with Zubimendi. And we
And
still have Marino there. And worst case scenario, as much as I wouldn't want to do this, we're anticipating that we're going to get a number 9. Worst case scenario, if someone gets injured, you can drop Rice into that 6 well and bring Kai down to play with Odegaard, right? That's a worst case scenario. Or we still have Calafiori. You can put Miles there. You can put Wanyeri there, right?
and this is where I accept the speed and I appreciate the speed in which we did the Nørgaard deal and the Kepa deal to a certain extent. Is that as you said, we will judge these signings now at the end of the window, depending on what we do in the forward line,
Yep.
right? If we've reduced our wage bill now, because again, Kepa was essentially the alternative to the Juan Garcia, which wouldn't have made any sense for us to do, right? He would have cost us big money for a goalkeeper when we need to put that money in other areas. So to pivot from that and boom, get Kepa in quickly for 5 mil, probably not on crazy wages. You could say that's a good decision. Similar to the Nørgaard thing. Now we hope that Nørgaard knows, everybody will know that this is a backup signing. So let's not get that twisted. This is a backup midfield signing. He's not going to start. We have to hope that Zubimendi hits the ground running and stays fit, because all Nørgaard really is, he is the Jorginho replacement. He's the backup. So we don't expect him to come in and play 30, 35 games. He'll get minutes off the bench here and there. But what I do like most about that signing is the Premier League experience. Arteta likes to go for Premier League experienced players. That's always a bonus. So,
Yep.
but the speed and quickness in which we did that, I can appreciate, so long as saving those funds, reducing the wage bill allows us to do what we need to do later in this window, and is increase the quality in our forward line, whether that's the left winger, the
Mhm.
striker.
And speaking on that for the forward line, Eberechi Eze, that's someone that we've been linked with, and it's been a serious link now, because the Rodrigo situation, the Rafael Leao situation, it's not for certain that we're going to be able to pull those off. And Eberechi Eze, in my opinion, because I think I believe if I'm not mistaken, I can go back and listen to the pod. I believe I've said it before that I think Eberechi Eze would be a huge signing for us because he solves multiple positions for us. He can play left wing. He can play left eight. He can play right eight. He can play right wing. Is he dominant in all those positions? I would say he's probably most dominant in left eight and left wing, just his playing style. But he solves a lot of issues, and he showed what he can do. He single handedly took Crystal Palace to an FA Cup victory. Now, are Palace going to get rid of him? I don't know. Maybe they have to for FFP reasons. Maybe they have to because they want to build the squad, right? They're going to be in Europa, so there's a lot of different factors because Europa, while people are going to be like, well, they would want to keep their best player. Yes, I understand that, but that they are going to be playing every 3 days, so they have to factor that in as well. Are you going to keep a small squad who can probably maybe push for Europa knockout stages, or are you going to build your squad so that you can kind of maybe get to a semis in Carabao Cup, or try to like push for something like that and be able to attack all fronts? That's the part that they have to think about. I think Eze would be a huge signing for us, and he's Premier League proven. Um, and then there's that 20-year-old defender from Valencia, Christian Mosquera, that we've been linked to as well. Um, Another
That one seems
defender.
pretty close as well.
Yeah, I think that one's almost done. Like, I don't know how. I don't want to be negative about it. I don't want to be negative about it because I can see, like, we have bodies, but Jurriën Timber just had a surgery again. So who knows what he's going to be ready. It's anticipated that he'd be ready for the beginning of the year. Ben White just came back and he looked awful, right? Probably we're still recovering from the injury and getting his feet under him. Tomiyasu is probably going to come back, and I promise you, Arteta's going to try to play him as much, showcase him, and they're going to ship him off, right? We have Calafiori, we have Lewis Skelly, we have Gabriel, we have Saliba, Kivior, but like on that right side, we're not very deep. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I watched some of his highlights. Like, I don't know. Are we gonna get him and loan him out? He's 20. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's an anticipation for maybe like Gabriel leaving, but he just signed a long-term deal. Is it anticipation for Saliba leaving in a couple years or potentially not re-signing? Like, I don't really understand the signing, but he's a good player. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think I understand it from a squad perspective. Again, one of those squad signings that you just get in quickly. And like I said, we'll be able to judge all the signings that we're doing right now, because whilst they don't wow anybody and get us off our seats, um, there's signings that one would say that we need, right? So we'll judge these signings now at the end of the window, so long as we've done the business in the other areas that we needed to do. So getting all this done now is actually quite good if you're actually going to go out and get the striker and get the left winger that we actually need, the world class top quality that goes into our starting 11. Because there actually is, logistically, if you break it down, we do need all the signings that we've made thus far. We do need a Nørgaard if Partey goes, and I'm actually glad we did that quite quickly, realistically speaking. Whether that's
Didn't drag
good,
it on for the entire window.
yeah, whether that's good enough or not is to be debated, but at least they got it done quickly. Kepa the same. Zubimendi we know is already through the door, although that's been on the cards for half the year now. But we're getting signings in now that we needed. So because the more difficult signings to do, let's be real, are the ones that are going to cost the big monies, right? Your Eze's, your potentially a Rodrigo or a Leao, your striker situation. So getting those things done now is needed. We have to say that it is needed. So it's not glamorous, because we're still dragging out some of the signings that we really do need, but they are still signings that we needed to get done. So I'm glad they're done out the way quite quickly. And if we do get this backup defender in, it's at least another one that we've done quickly, and it's quoted for under 20 million pounds, so it shouldn't run us to the ground too much. Again, it's a one I whilst I never heard of him, I'm not gonna lie, I never heard of this guy,
No,
but
never heard of him.
we do need a backup right center back in that right side of our defense if you really think about it, because as you said, Timber injury concerns there. Ben White has his fitness doubts. We don't really have actual proper backup for a Saliba, really,
No.
if you think about it. So
I
again,
wanna
you would say
Yeah, I
one
wanna I
is
wanna
needed.
pose sorry, CJ.
Mhm.
I wanna pose this to Laurent because I want Laurent's take on this. We've seen Chelsea sign, and I'm not trying to rip on Chelsea, but I think it's a good comp. We've seen Chelsea sign all these wingers, um, and all these players from like the German league, from the Spanish league, and all these places, and they've had a difficult time adapting to the Premier League, the physicality, the speed, um, then maybe the intensity of the games. That one week you're playing a team with like Arsenal or City who have a little bit of flair, and then the next week you're playing, someone like a Leicester or Ipswich who are just going to hit you, right? They're not good. They don't have that same flair. If you were an Arsenal fan, what would your ideal signing be between these three? Eberechi Eze, Rodrigo, or Rafael?
Hmm.
And why would you pick that person? Because I if I know CJ well, I know what his answer would be.
Yeah, you should
Um,
know. Yeah,
and I want to know what your take is because while I may know CJ's answer, I think we'd be different on this question. So I want your take on it, Laurent. Who would you take and why?
Eze, Rodrigo, or Leao? Man, that's a tough one. It's not as straightforward as it seems, actually.
I like this
Honest,
question. I like this question.
yeah, no, it's a tricky one. Obviously, I think like just if you look at the overall skill of the player, just from that perspective, you'd opt for Rodrigo. Rodrigo, and then yeah, I might even just skill wise, I think I might even put Leao before Eze. Right? But now, I'm thinking of just recent form, right? Adaptability, the league, and suddenly now it's like I'm favoring Eze over both. Given what he's done, right, in the league. Mind you, I know that you guys mentioned that, right, if we're talking titles to win, the Premier League is the one that you guys are eyeing, right? You see that or Champions League, but either or, you have a guy that is accustomed to the league currently, right? That you could sign off the bat. Whereas with these other two guys, you don't know, right? It's always that gamble, right? That you take with a player coming in from a different league, playing under a different system, right? Mind you, the most recent player at that caliber, I'd say even to the highest caliber, was Mbappe, right? Took a bit of time for him to adapt, right? And he actually ended up making the numbers. But yeah, no. So for me, given the situation Arsenal find themselves in, I'd say Eze. Plus, I feel like the way he plays, I think, is suited for how Arteta also would like his players to play in that position, right? So yeah, I'd say Eze.
CJ, now
Um,
before you answer, I'm going to count down from three. When I say one, say the player's name that you would take. Because I just want to see if we're on tune or okay. And then we can
Yeah,
have a debate on whether if we're the same, we're the same. We don't need to have a debate. If we're different, then we can chat about it. Okay, ready? On
yeah.
one, say it. Three, two, one. Eze.
Garnacho.
Get the fuck out of here.
wow, this guy's not serious.
Who, who would you have?
No, what do you think my answer would be?
I think your answer would be Rodrigo.
Yeah, bro, you're bang on. You're bang on, and I'll tell you guys why. Like for
That's a
me,
well, no, sorry, I was saying that's a wild card, man. Like
for
I
for
think
me on for me honestly, it's no contest. Yeah, it's actually no contest. And my reason is, he's a clear favorite for me because, um, first of all, with Liao, like I understand, he on his day and on his game, like yeah, he's
He's a
probably
baller.
one of the most
Mm,
dangerous wingers in the world, right? But that again, that's on his day.
Hmm.
yeah, it's not
I'm not
consistent.
sure if he's consistent enough for what Arteta wants to. I'm not sure if he has the work rate off the ball that Arteta wants. He's more,
Definitely not.
yeah, definitely not. He's more of an old school kind of winger, right? That laid back street footballer approach. Doesn't he just strike you guys like, looks like he's playing football on on the street, like a little five-a-side.
Yeah.
He's ready to meg you at any moment. He's ready to do a little
Yeah.
dangling, take guys on. He might even take too many risks and take too many guys on at the same time and lose a ball. And you can see Arteta losing his shit on the sidelines if he does
And he's
shit
not
like
gonna
stuff
run
like that.
back, and then he's gonna make like Saka and everybody else run back, and
Bro,
he's gonna.
Arteta will sub him out right after that same play, right? That's the kind of player that Liao strikes me as. And obviously, this other player wasn't to Liao's level, I don't think, but a Nicolas Pepe kind of player, right? That's how Pepe was, and Arteta and him didn't really get on. Arteta didn't really like Pepe's playing style. Um, Too laid back, too laissez-faire, didn't have the work rate off the ball, probably tried to take on too many players, too many risks. That's Liao, but obviously Liao's a better version of that because Liao at his best is better than Pepe at his best.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that rules out Leao right away, to be honest with you. And with the Eze and Rodrigo thing, Eze for me, he's a quality player and a player that we would no doubt I would take in a heartbeat. But uh, my thing, guys, for Arsenal, like Arsenal needs an out and out killer of a winger. Eze is not. He can play
He's not a
out
killer.
wide.
He's not a
Yeah,
killer.
he can play out wide. He can do a job out there. But honestly, guys, I think Eze's best position is in central areas.
Hmm.
Like
Left wing.
Mm,
he's a player that needs to get on the ball and dictate play more from central positions,
I
right?
think you got a point there. Yeah.
I think he scored at the goal in the final from a central position, running it, crashing the box late. I feel like he would be isolated out wide too much. Especially with the way that we play. We don't play with like an overlapping fullback to create overloads. We literally give the ball to our wide players, like a Martinelli we see all the time. And whilst we know Martinelli has his own issues, how many times do we see Martinelli get the ball and he's just isolated? Like, because we don't play with an overlapping left fullback, we play with an inverted fullback. So Martinelli doesn't necessarily always have um, the time, the space, the freedom because he's got maybe one or two guys on him. He doesn't have the same support system. So I don't think that would. I think Eze would be really isolated because look, we ask our wingers to literally hug the touchline. Eze, if he's hugging the touchline, he's not that kind of player because he's not rapid pace. He's trickery. She's tricky, right? That's how he beats his defenders with trickery and with skill and creativity. But he's not rapid. So asking him to hug the touchline in an Arsenal system to stay out wide and hug the touchline, you're almost isolating him out of the game, and that takes away from some of his best qualities. Because, like I said, he's a ball dominant guy. He's good on the ball. He can make things happen because he can create, he can pass, he can drive through the lines in midfield. He can finish and crash the box late. Those late arrivals into the box. He's just not an out and out winger for me. And if we needed, maybe some would say, if we did need a left eight, Declan Rice is filling that void at the moment. But if we actually needed a left eight for sure, then it's like that's where he would go for me. He would go in our midfield three, in the central midfield three on the left side of the three. But he wouldn't be my out and out left winger. And I'm still convinced that we need an out and out left
No,
winger,
I agree with you. I
which is
think
why Rodrigo for me is the pick, honestly.
my only concern is the way that we play. I think with how Rodrigo is, I worry that Rodrigo would end up being something like a Martinelli in the sense that he
Oh,
would
you're
stay
dissing him.
isolated. No.
Not in terms of playing style. You're talking
No,
about like
not
being
because he's gonna get overloaded, right? He's gonna
mhm.
get overloaded. He's gonna get double teamed the same way that Saka does, and I think the physicality Saka's got used to it, and I don't think Rodrigo the first year would be able to tolerate it. My reasoning for picking Eze is I think he's an upgrade on Leandro Trossard.
Mm,
Because
Definitely.
Trossard isn't he's not pacey, but he gets space for himself by the trickery that he does, as he has a little bit more pace. And when Trossard comes into the midfield, I kind of get nervous because he doesn't know how to turn away from pressure if you have a bigger guy on him because he's a little bit smaller. He has good trickery, but he needs that 1-2 to move. Whereas Eze has proven that okay, he can turn away from traffic and he can create. He can ride the challenge and create. So for me, although Eze wouldn't be an out and out left wing, I still think keeping Martinelli because there was some rumors that, other teams like Bayern were coming in for Martinelli. I think if we're keeping Martinelli, I think Eze would be a good solution, and he would solve a couple positions. If Zubimendi doesn't kick on, you can go to a midfield three of Odegaard, Eze, Rice. If Zubimendi does kick on, you can go Odegaard, Rice, Zubimendi, and then put Eze as the left wing. And if Odegaard's not kicking on, you replace him with Eze and you bring on Martinelli as the left wing. So I think the way that Arteta has been making some of his signings and valuing that people can play multiple different positions and having that fluidity, I think that's why if I think Rodrigo still would be my first choice, just because he's 24 years old. I think he's proven it on the world stage. But if it turns out to be that it's too difficult and he's asking for ridiculous wages, I think Eze wouldn't be like I wouldn't be mad with an Eze. If we get Eze and we keep the left wingers that we have, because we still have Gabriel Jesus there, we'll still have Martinelli, we'll still have Trossard, so we'll still have that fluidity of and familiarity there. But for me, if you get someone like that, and that's fine, but it all depends on the number nine. So if we get an Eze rather than a Rodrigo, I would want a Gyökeres. I would want the complete talents. I wouldn't want someone that has to work and that needs like a year or two of work. Whereas if you get a Rodrigo, in my opinion, I think you could do away with getting Sesko and letting him, ride the bench and learn for a little bit and then get into the team. Um, so
I like the topic of conversation we're on actually. So I have another question for you guys, and I think this is a good this is definitely good dialogue right now based on the staying on this topic. So let's continue that because I want to bring up something that you mentioned, Murad, as well about Martinelli, and there were rumors of him being linked away, potentially a Bayern looking at him, so on and so forth. A lot of the optimistic Arsenal fans, so to speak, or like the sentimental ones. Um, have been angered by a lot of these rumors this week coming out about Martinelli leaving the club and saying, oh, we can't let him leave. It would be a disgrace and this and that. And I want to get both of your guys' takes on this. I want to start with Murdad actually, on this one, because what if we? I'll say something like this really quickly. For me, like people want to hang on to Martinelli for the sentiment, right? Because he feels like our own. We got him here as a young boy from Brazil. He literally feels like he grew up in our system, which he didn't actually do. He came straight from Brazil and into our first team, which is why we loved him even more because he hit the ground running, right? But for me, he hasn't really kicked on since. He hasn't improved as much as I would have wanted him to. He had that brilliant 15 goal season. In 2023 season, 22-23 season, when Jesus first bust onto the scene. Brilliant from then, but hasn't really kicked on, in my opinion. And there's a lot of Arsenal fans right now who are, again, they're hanging on to the sentiment of Martinelli, the young boy, right? Looking at it with sentiment as opposed to a clear vision footballing brain, in my opinion. So people aren't seeing the vision necessarily where it's like if we get rid of Martinelli, I'm in the camp where if he goes because I want to bring in a Rodrigo. Again, we're not Real Madrid. We can't just stack players on 100 mil, 50 to 100 mil signings all on our bench, right? Like something's gonna have to give for us. If we want one of these big players, we are probably gonna have to sell one of our assets, right? We can't afford to just keep everybody. And I've been hearing that if we do want a Rodrigo or someone at that level, there's going to be some sacrificial lambs. And for me, Martinelli would be that first sacrificial lamb because I'm sorry, like the sentiment is only going to last you so long in the game. Yes, we love him. He's young. He's done great things for us, and he's had great moments. But if selling him means we bring in a Rodrigo, then I personally would be all for that. Again, a lot of the top Gooners aren't happy with that. They want Martinelli to stay. But let's be honest, if it's between Martinelli and Trossard, first of all, if it was between Martinelli and Trossard, I'd rather get rid of Trossard. But the reality of the situation is I don't think we're not going to get big money for a Trossard because of his age, because of whatever. Martinelli is still young. He's still an asset, right? He has more to contribute to the game. He's got pace and so on. So that's my thing. He would be a sacrificial lamb, and that may be a very unpopular opinion. In fact, I know it's an unpopular opinion. But if it means that we are going to get who we need to get next and upgrade, forget sentiment. Like for me, he'd be gone, right? So Murdad, like I want to start with you. Like, what's your take on that?
I agree. I think that's what we did with Ramsdale. I think a lot of fans were not happy because Ramsdale was a fan favorite, but now 2 years on, like I don't think anyone would say that it was a wrong choice.
Oh
Just
yeah,
through the
definitely.
impact that Raya's had, the distribution alone. For me, it was like I was in the camp of like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you bringing in Raya, Ramsdale PFA Player of the Year? Sorry, not PFA Player, PFA Team of the Year.
Hmm.
Like he had an unreal year, but you want to be the best, you have to be a little ruthless, right? Look at what Real Madrid did. They won the Champions League and they got rid of Benzema. Mind you, his age was a huge factor, but you could have ran it back. Um, so for me, I think I'm in agreement with you that if because I don't think Rodrigo, even though they're both Brazilian, I don't think Rodrigo and Martinelli would mesh. I think Martinelli, given his age, I think he would want to be a starter more, and I think he would want to play more. Whereas a Trossard understands like he's a squad player now. He's still a very good squad player, and I think he's better coming off the bench than actually starting. So yeah, I mean, if it means that we get a Rodrigo, sure, not a problem. But I wouldn't sell him cheap. Like if they're only coming in for like 40, 50 mil, hell no. Figure it
Oh
out.
yeah. So how much do you think he's worth?
For me, with the way that these players are going in the price tag, because he's only 24 if I'm not mistaken, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Let me just
23,
double
24
check
maybe.
before I say what I'm about to say. He's 24 years old. Um, he's a Brazilian international. He's been playing. Um, I would want a north of 65
Really?
with add-ons. Yeah, the base. I'd want it to be 60 to 65, and with add-ons, go all the way up to 75.
So what you want? Do you think we can realistically get that for him?
Yeah, with the right team that comes in. Yeah, like if it's a Bayern Munich, yeah, 100% we can get that from them.
We have Bayern made an offer for him?
No,
Hmm.
Bayern were interested
Hmm.
because they're trying to rebuild their team and get younger. Because like at the end of the day, he's 24 years old. Like he's the same age as Rodrigo. Obviously, they're on completely different spectrums. Rodrigo is going to cost us around 80 as the base, and I promise you there's going to be add-ons that's going to take that up to upwards of 90, 95. And for Martinelli, I'd want minimum 60 with the add-ons taking it up to 75, you know?
Hmm.
But yeah, again, any player, the only players on this team that I would not sell to improve are Saka, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly, and Wanyeri. Those are the five players for me. I would not sell.
Would you include Declan Rice in that or no?
Sorry, yeah. I mean, yes, Declan Rice. Yeah, those are the six players that I wouldn't sell to improve. Sorry. Everybody else, fair game. You have to be a little ruthless, and Arteta's shown to be ruthless. So for me, if we're getting Rodrigo and we have to get rid of Martinelli, do it. But I also wouldn't want to just do away with them. Like if we get like 30 mil, I'd be fuming. 30 million for a 24-year-old left winger. We were on this topic and you brought it up last time. Left wingers are a dime a dozen. There's no true out and out left wingers. And Martinelli, he can develop into that again. He showed that he has that potential. Maybe he peaked, maybe he'll never hit 15 goals ever again, but I do think that in his back pocket he can be 10 goals, 5 assists, like something like that. I think that that is in his potential because he has that unreal pace. Now we have to look, are we scapegoating him a little bit because the system's changed? He hasn't had a consistent left back and it's been constantly changing. The left eight has also changed, right? So there's been a lot of moving parts. This is going to be his third year with Declan Rice, but his left back has changed. Whereas Saka on the right side, he's had Odegaard, Rice, and Timber. Sorry, Odegaard, White, and Timber consistently. And he played with Odegaard and White for pretty much the better part of the last 3, 4 years. So are we scapegoating him a little bit? Are we, being a little harsh on him? Maybe. Maybe that's where some of the fans are saying, oh no, you have to keep Martinelli. But if it means that we get a world-class player like Rodrigo, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, unfortunately.
Laurent, what's your take? I actually already know your answer because there is no sentiment with you and Martinelli, so I think I already know what you
Well,
would
there's
say
no
to this.
sentiment with him at all. This man wakes up in the morning and he's fucking grumbling. He's like, "What the fuck, bro? There's no sense in me. Get up and work."
What? I mean, yeah, no, that's the correct answer. I agree with what Merdad has said.
Change
Get,
fucking Laurent's name to David Goggins.
wow.
I
Uh,
run. Get up in the morning. I run. You're not doing enough. Go run. Bro,
you,
Funny enough,
I
I
promise
actually,
you, he
you.
has David Goggins' book and he probably reads it every night. And every night
No,
before he goes to bed, he reads one of his motivational quotes.
the funny, no, so the book is in the house, but it's not mine though. That's no, the book is in the house, but it's not mine. I haven't read it yet.
Yo,
But
oh.
this guy, bro, this guy, like what? Like, yeah, just let me answer the question fully. But yeah, no. So what Merdad said, yeah, the valid points. Um, I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's time to part ways. Now whether or not, right? Like, because I think he said north of 65 mil. I don't know what the average price is for wingers, and especially like at different tiers, right? Like what they're going for. Um, if I was Arsenal, frankly, if selling him would allow for someone else to come in, I'd be okay with undervaluing him in the sale, right?
Mm.
So yeah, not necessarily because I feel like at this point that position needs to be filled with someone that can get the job done, right? That can be efficient. Um, and yeah, man, it's just like there's so many moments in key games where, right, if you had that player in that position, suddenly, right, you're contending for titles, right? Like or so it's like yeah, I think it's time for I would let him go with no sentiments attached.
I thought this was funny because I know you don't rate his playing style. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know he
No,
frustrates you as a player.
yeah, yeah. As a winger, like ah man, yeah, because like you said, I like the laissez-faire wingers. You know, they got the flair, like the Liaos.
Oh, like Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, no, bro. Again, I like we're not we're like I don't know why this guy brought this up, but yeah, no, Lamine Yamal, quality player. Um,
Like a David Goggins?
yeah, yeah, even like a David Goggins, bro. Like, right? But mind you, right? For a winger, especially when you guys mentioned the fact that given the system, right, they're isolated, right? And sometimes when you're playing, you're isolated. Your take ons, right? It's like you have to have that ability to just
Yes.
wanna, right?
Hmm.
And you also need, to me, beyond that, right? Like beyond just the skill. The other thing, I think you need a player too that has the psychological aptitude to even on bad games. Like, maybe you start off slow, but you're still willing to go at it, right? Then you're
Hmm.
not shying away from the opposition, even when that left back, that right back, whoever it is that is playing you is having an amazing game,
Hmm.
right? Because that forces also players to rethink their choices, right? When they get the ball, maybe they don't want the ball anymore suddenly, or they pass it out, or it throws them off their game. So yeah, no, I think it's a very important to get a player like that. Now, would you guys say that Rodrigo does have that? Because mind you, also he is coming off, I think, a season that has affected him psychologically, which is why Ancelotti, I believe, gave him that time, right, to kind of like reset, right, just to get his head together, right? So what do you guys think that
I think a
if
fresh start would be the best thing for him.
mm,
Staying fighting for his position, I think is gonna be the worst thing for him for his career.
mm, okay,
I think he needs
Yeah,
a fresh
because
start and fresh slate.
and ultimately he wants to play where he wants to play, and that's not going to change anytime soon. So,
Mhm.
mm,
Vinny and Mbappe are there. He's not going to really get the positions that he wants to. Like realistically, he's going to be stuck out on that right side unless he revamps the whole system. I don't know how Alonso would do it, but
mm,
yeah, no. And the best thing would be, I think it's best for all parties. Like as we just said, a player who's going to be touchline winger and be isolated, and if anybody who can get past, two or three defenders coming at them in isolation, it's a player like a Rodrigo, right? Who's got that skill, that creativity, that football IQ, that brain to just get out of tight situations, right? He's got that Brazilian know-how, right? The players that you want to stick on the wing to get out of a tricky situation are those kind of players, you
Mm.
know, like a Rodrigo, Alexis Sanchez back in the day, Eden Hazard. The more modern version of that is the likes of Lamine Yamal, who can get away from dangerous situations from two or three defenders, right? Rodrigo can do something like that, I feel like. So, it's no sense sticking a Martinelli out on the left wing in isolation when he only respectfully has really one way of playing, right? One direction. He's like a
Mm.
speedboat with no, it's like sometimes you got to slow it down and speed. No, he's just like a speedboat. Once you turn on that speedboat, he's gone, head down, running towards that byline. I don't know where he's going to go sometimes.
Mm.
And
That's a good analogy. Speedboat.
yeah, Thierry even said it too, right? He's like sometimes, he looks at it and he just passes back, or when he gets the ball, he's not looking to attack. He's not looking to just like kick the ball around someone and then run it down. He's just looking to like do his 1-2 and then pass it back and then, stay wide. So there's no flair in the movement. Um, but
Yeah, like, fuck. I feel like if I, it's like did you ever play on the streets in Brazil? Like,
hey,
like
from Paulo.
like or what
From
or like
São
were you
Paulo.
were you privileged like in the suburbs or somewhere where you never men's never played barefoot, you know? But yeah.
Like I said, he may be from Burkina Faso.
Mm. Yo, don't sleep, eh? I sent you guys that yo, yeah, no, I swear I showed you guys that vid though. It wasn't Burkina Faso, it was oh no, it was a vid that I posted on the story and it's like the Martinelli that like
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
yeah, don't sleep, bro. Yo, those guys, whoo.
All right. Before we move on to the FIFA Club World Cup knockout stages, um, the number 9 position.
Mm.
So the most recent news coming out is Benjamin Sesko. His asking price is too high because he wants his agent to make a decent coin, which is kind of putting off the board and Arteta. And then Gyökeres is essentially telling Sporting that we had a gentleman's handshake, and you said that you were going to let me go for X amount, and you're not, and I will not play for Sporting ever again. So you need to let me go for the amount that you shook hands on me with. So if I'm not mistaken, he's kind of at a stalemate. He doesn't want to do anything with Sporting, and then Sesko's situation is that the price is too high. What say you? I don't honestly at this point just get one in. That's where I'm at. I don't give a fuck. Just get one in.
We're gonna get Sesko, man. I'm telling you now. We're gonna get Sesko. That's really who they want, I think, or who Arteta wants at least.
Why? What makes you say that?
We've been chasing him for about a year now, over a year. Um, And the fact that Gyökeres is literally begging, pretty much, to come to the football club. We've been hearing murmurs for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks that he's going to deny United. He's going to turn down other clubs. He wants to go to Arsenal. He's telling his friends that he's going to Arsenal. All these other things, like he wants to leave. Point blank. Period. He wants to leave. And if we were, if Arteta was ever really that intent on a player, um, who's that desperate to leave and who wants to come to the club, then Arteta would get the player, right?
Mm.
This is not a surprise by now. He's been wanting to leave for a long time. We've needed a striker for a long time. This is almost one of those deals that should have been done. I know there's big money attached to it, but the player wants to leave, and now Arteta and Arsenal as a club will have leverage because it's like your player wants to leave now. He's begging to leave. He says he's not going to play for you again. So the ball's kind of in our court a little bit, where it's like get this deal done, really and truly. Whereas the Leipzig side of things, as you alluded to, Merdad, is like they're trying to hold out for big money, and there's complications with the structure there. But this Gyökeres one seems so much more straightforward to do, and it's like because of that reason, it should have been done by now. Because we're in the same situation. We've been on this pod for the last 3, 4, however long since the season ended, and we feel like we haven't gotten anything. Nothing's really
No,
changed. Little things here
nothing
and
moved
there.
closer.
We
Nothing
were
moved closer.
every week we've been doing this,
No.
and we're still here week 4, week 5 after the season's finished saying, oh, Gyökeres or Sesko. Like how many weeks are we going to keep doing this? And it's clear to me that despite that we've known that Gyökeres has wanted to leave now for some time. It's been reported by all the big journalists. It's out there. It's everywhere. How has it not been done yet? How has it not been done yet? So I think we're holding out for Sesko because again, that's been the longer term target, younger guy profile. He fits the style of play, all that buzzwords nonsense that we like the Arsenal fans and the Arteta sexuals like to use. Bro, that's the guy that we want. Clearly, that's the guy that they want, and I think that's what we're actually I think using Yoker as additional leverage to say, kind of like a smokescreen to Sesko. Hey,
Yeah.
if you don't drop your wage demands or if you don't drop the price, we're gonna go for Gyökeres, but we're bluffing. I don't think we really even want Gyökeres because that honestly should have been done by now, or at the very least, more movement. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It all seems like it's Gyökeres pushing for, but we're not really. So I think we're using him like the side gal, like the side chick. We're saying, we really want that main chick over there, but this side gal, don't sleep because if you're not ready to come, well, I have this side girl here, just but we're using the side girl, not really giving her no love, not taking her home at the end of the night. We're just kind of saying, hold it down on the side until, just in case, make it look like
While you side gals, you're still number one in our hearts.
you know, that's what they're trying to tell Gyökeres, bro. That's why Gyökeres is so convinced that he's gonna come to the club. I don't know, bro. It's this.
It's
I,
it's just it's a joke. Like I don't want to come on this pod next week and be like, oh, we're back again. We're
it's
back
gonna be the
again.
same, bro. Like, do you really think there's gonna be any movement next week? I don't know at this point. But my question to you guys is, I have another question to pop up to you guys, and basically what Gyökeres is doing is he's kind of going on strike, essentially, right? Like he's going on strike. He told the club he's not going to play for them again. What's your guys' opinion on that? Um, a player going on strike at their club.
Wait, is he even allowed to do that without any penalties? Like, I assume there's, right? Like,
I think surely he would have just accepted the penalties at this point,
Yeah, I
but
think
his his
he I
his
think
heart is just set on it that
yeah, I
he's not
think he
playing
would
for them.
like forfeit. Like if there's any like mandatory like training and stuff that he's not doing, I think he
mm,
would forfeit a certain percentage of his contract. Depends
mm,
on if it's in the contract or not. Like I know for NFL, if players hold out, they forfeit their salary and then they get um what's it called? They also get fined as well.
mm. Yeah, no, I mean, given that case, like, I mean, his situation, honestly, man, I feel like you got to do what you got to do, you know? Who knows, right? Like, I feel like he's almost in handcuffs, out there, right? And if he feels that this is what is required to get him the hell out of there, then sure, man, by all means, use all means, right? Um, because like it's sad to say, but at the end of the day, players are more so, like just like employees. I think people forget that a soccer player is an employee to his club, right? Like,
Yeah,
so, yeah, and just like, right, like in the workplace, there are certain things that you can't really do, right? Like, um, where your hands are tied, right, right, and in his case, same thing. And now he's trying to, use a bit of a bit of power, or as much as he can do to get the move that he wants, right? And whether or not it's going to be effective, who knows? But yeah, I don't blame him for it.
Murda.
I don't really care. I think if anything, it makes me happy. Makes me happy to know that there's a player that actually wants to come. I think it was a couple years back when we were dealing with the Vlahovic, Dusan Vlahovic,
Yeah,
and he,
he
you
treated
know,
us like the side piece.
yeah, and it's nice to
Oh,
know
to
that.
Juve?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm,
had
So
us fooled that he thinking that he might actually come to us. Meanwhile, he was just using us to get his big move to Juventus.
yeah, so for me, if Gyökeres wants to come and he's holding out, like to me, that's a sign to Arteta, like this guy's serious. This guy's gonna come and he always talks about it. I want passionate players. I want players that would die for this jersey, and yeah, get Gyökeres.
Yeah, players that want to come. That's why it's like it's like not making sense. You talk about players that want to
Yeah,
come to the club.
I mean, but we also don't really know what's happening in the background. We don't know if the conversations are not being had to try to bring the price down and to say, hey, if your player's not playing there, like we want to sign him, like let's get the deal done and stuff. So we can't assume. I mean, it is getting annoying that it's the same conversation that we're having week after week. But yeah, to me, I don't really care. If you're gonna hold out because you don't want to play for that team and you want that move, good on you. Good on you, because you're the prized possession for Sporting.
mm.
If they fuck it up, They're just driving them the profit that they're making. And if you really want to come play for Arsenal, for me, let's do it. Let's tangle. The Sesko situation, if anything, for me, pisses me off more. It's like you haven't really had like a crazy good season. Yes, you're 22 years old, and your expectations are like like a Saka or like like an Isak. Like, no, I don't give a fuck about your agent and how much money he's gonna make off the sale. Like, I don't care. You want to come play, come play. You don't want to come play and you're worried about the money, go somewhere else. Go to Bayern. Like stay in the German league. You haven't done anything. Whereas Gyökeres has proven it. And he's saying, I want to come play. So for me, the Sesko situation rubs me the wrong way a little bit more because he's making it about money. If he had said, "Oh, I don't know if I want to go to Arsenal because I don't know if I'll be able to play and how much playing time I get," I'd respect that more rather than you saying, "I want my agent to make enough money or a certain amount of money."
So is that actually what's the case is though? Because that's
Yeah,
alleged. Like I've been hearing that. I was hearing a lot of rumors this week. I was hearing that he was saying that he wants a release clause, but I don't know if that's actually true or not. I don't know.
but but again, a lot of the rumors, it's all alleged, but all of it is around surrounding some form of financial compensation or like financial, like there's some finance discussion in all the rumors. So if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it probably is a duck. And that duck being he just cares about the finances. Whereas Gyökeres, the only thing he cares about is I want to get out of Sporting and come to Arsenal.
Wait, so essentially what you're saying is Gyökeres, I assume, is gonna cost you guys less than Sesko?
The whole financial package, I think, yeah, sounds like
Yeah,
it would make more sense for Gyökeres and Sesko.
yeah,
Jeez.
Hmm.
yeah.
And
Especially
then,
now with the
But
leverage
then
that,
for yeah,
yeah,
but then for FFP reasons, Sesko may make more sense long term because he's 22 and you can spread it out longer. Whereas Gyökeres is
might be
27,
more payments
it'd
up
be
front.
more, yeah, everything would be upfront rather than
mm,
it being long term. So like you want to invest now, you want to invest in the future. That's really what it comes down to. But again, for me, if you want to come, come. Stop with this fucking stop with this back and forth bullshit.
Well,
yeah,
I sorry, Lauren, go on.
honestly, you gotta invest for the future, man. You gotta keep stacking your skyscraper, you know?
But we
Um,
already did.
yeah, but you
Sam
stack some
Luke
more, bro.
Skelly, we're like there's only so much that we can be a future team, right? Look at
Laurent,
Chelsea.
yeah, that's why I hope that
Chelsea's
was
like,
sarcastic, Laurent.
No, it was definitely sarcasm.
Okay, all right, cool, cool.
Eh,
so anyway, sorry,
But
CJ.
that's why I wanted to ask you guys that question though, to be honest, because some players actually not just players, sorry, players, managers, clubs, they are might look at that the wrong way, like a professional footballer going on strike. And as you said, Laurent, it's a job. Like imagine not turning up for your job, right? You're paying your
mm,
wages, this and that. So some clubs and some players, there was talks that, oh, like, will Arsenal and Arteta, would that be a bad look? Would they look at Gyökeres the wrong way for, it's going on strike against, his club? That's unprofessional. That's this, that's that. Like that's the club. That's the club that employs you. That's, you've done your best work at the club. So why are you going to go on strike and disrespect the club? That's not very, like I said, professional, this and that. But for me, a gentleman's agreement was made. And at the end of the day, whilst no player should ever be fooled into believing a gentleman's agreement, because in any walk of life, there's no such thing as a gentleman's agreement unless there's something in signed, sealed, and delivered in writing. A gentleman's agreement is nonsense. Really, we saw it with Daniel Levy and Harry Kane at Tottenham,
That's what
right?
I was gonna say. Sorry, CJ.
Yeah.
Just quickly pause
Hmm.
your statement. Does anyone look at Harry Kane differently?
Did Harry? Oh yeah, Harry Kane did go on strike, didn't he? Like a brief
Yeah.
strike.
Does anyone look at him differently? Did Bayern look at him differently?
Yeah, not true. All they saw was a world class player.
A
wait,
world
so
class
he
player.
stopped turning up to games or practice? Like that's what he did?
I think in his final season, right at Spurs,
Yeah,
was it?
yeah.
Mm.
Did anyone look at him differently? Or was Bayern happy to get the guy that wanted to come? Sorry, I didn't mean to stop your rant, but I just wanted to I wanted to make a point for that.
No, no, for sure. And that's why, yeah, I if anything, naivety on the end of a Harry Kane in that situation, and naivety on Gyökeres' situation to be fooled by a gentleman's agreement because there really is
Mhm.
no such thing. But at the same time, I understand and feel for the player. It's like I've given my services here. You told me I could leave at the end of the season if I stick around. Because let's be honest, he could have left last season. He could have left in January. But he stuck around and saw it out. So if the
Yeah.
club is not going to let him get his move, right? He's at a prime age right now where he needs to make the step now. So yeah, that player power is sometimes lost in the game. And I think he's well within his rights to say he wants to leave and shouldn't be held hostage for money, right? Like players are, they're human beings at the end of the day. They're not items. They're not vehicles. They're not. You know what I'm saying? Like their careers are on the line here. So
All right, quickly before we wrap it up, FIFA Club World Cup, we're getting to the knockout stages currently, since we're recording this Thursday night. Real Madrid's beating Salzburg 2-0, and Al Hilal is beating Pa Pachuca 1-0. Looks like Al Hilal and Madrid will be advancing. The top side of the bracket, we have Palmeiras versus Botafogo. The winner of that will face the winner of Benfica versus Chelsea. The bottom side of the top bracket, it's Inter versus Fluminense, who will face the winner of Man City versus either Madrid or Al Hilal. And then the bottom side of the bracket, we have PSG versus Inter Miami. The winner of that will face Flamengo or Bayern. And then Juve will face either Madrid or Al Hilal. And then the winner of that game will face Dortmund or Monterrey. Um, Initially looking at it, it does look like the top side of the bracket is initially easier. But if Madrid ends up facing Man City, and I don't have the bracket up, and I'm not sure if that's even a possibility or if Madrid face first, they might go at the bottom side. But if Madrid go up top, like you have Chelsea, Inter, Man City, Madrid, like it's a pretty stacked top side, and you also have Fluminense there. Um, Benfica is no slouch. And then on the bottom side, you have PSG, Bayern, Flamengo, Juve, Dortmund. It's starting to heat up, and this is the part that I'm actually excited for because I believe the knockouts they just start this Saturday. Like this is when the games are going to get serious because there is bragging rights. There is going to be a specific logo that they're going to have on their jerseys for the entire year, and there's money. There's money on the line. That financial advantage that's going to give for FFP purposes for you to win this tournament. Um, Knowing the bracket now and how it's shaping up. I'll pose it to you first, Laurent. Who do you think is the favorite, and who do you expect to make it to the finals?
Hmm.
yo, no
Really?
biased answers in this.
Nah, it's okay. You can be biased. I'll take a biased answer.
Top side of the brackets. I can see Chelsea making it to the finals. I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Chelsea.
Okay.
Bottom side of the bracket. Yeah, I might even go Bayern, man. Not gonna lie.
If they beat Flamengo, they'll have to go through either PSG or Inter Miami, which is most likely going to be
Mm,
PSG.
yeah, but I don't know. PSG, they haven't been looking too solid for me this tournament.
Well, they did just win the Champions League, so they probably have a little bit of hangover from that.
Mm, right.
So
Um.
you got like a Bayern Chelsea final.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That'd be fun. Where we get to do it all over again. But no. Also, I noticed PSG. It's like Dembele's not. I don't even think he's playing, man. You guys notice that? Like he's been missing a few games, right? So
Well,
that's also.
he was pretty injured because remember he got injured at the Arsenal game, and there was
Mm,
doubts of him playing in the second leg, and then he played a little bit, and then he played in the finals.
right. Right.
So maybe they're trying to just save him because it's not like this is they can probably beat Inter Miami without using Dembele, and
Mm,
they're gonna need him for the year that's upcoming. Maybe not for the league, but they're gonna need him for the European hopes.
right. Yeah. No. So yeah, those are my two picks, man. Chelsea, Bayern.
Okay.
Yeah.
CJ, who are your favorites, and who do you see getting to the finals?
Chelsea Bayern. So sorry, just to really quickly. So Chelsea's playing Benfica, is it?
Yeah.
Benfica, and then they would face the winner of Palmeiras Botafogo.
Oh, I see. I see. I'm actually only really looking at this bracket now for the first time. Yo, Chelsea has a good chance to get into the final. Um,
Like I think it's right now for Chelsea, it's semifinals or bust. With the way the
Mm,
bracket is, it's
yeah,
semifinals or bust at
I
a bare
agree.
minimum.
I agree.
Chelsea over Inter, eh? That's tough. How I don't know. Like LeBron, obviously your team is in it, so you might have been more invested in the tournament as a whole. I haven't really been seeing too much, but how has Inter been playing? Have you seen any of their games or?
Yeah, I haven't seen much, but
They got slapped by City.
Mm,
yeah. This Inter team, and especially I feel like they've just been on a spiral. Not on spiral, but it hasn't been the same Inter that we're used to seeing before that final Champions League. So,
that took a lot out of them, eh? That finals loss.
no, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Hmm. I'm not even sleeping on Benfica though. Still, but yeah, you know what? For the sake of our, support of our boy here, I'll say Chelsea can get to the final on that side of the bracket. Um, the other side. Wait, so where's City? I'm looking at these brackets now.
City would face either Madrid or Al Hilal,
Oh, I see.
and then they would have to go. And then if City wins, they'd face either Inter or Fluminense.
Oh, Inter Miami plays PSG.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an interesting one.
I'm sorry, my correction. Inter didn't play. Inter did not play City. Correction on
Okay.
that.
Okay, yeah. The current bracket I'm looking at, it doesn't look like it's complete yet because I guess teams are still playing, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna say actually, you know what? Bayern is a good shout. Uh yeah, man. Fuck it, let's do it. Run it back. Chelsea Bayern final.
Damn, eh?
Let's
Damn,
get it.
I'm sleeping on Man City though, actually.
Yeah. I'm
They look
shocked.
good. I'm not gonna lie. They actually, they look
I,
solid,
I'm
bro.
I'm really shocked that you guys didn't say because Man City, knowing the 115, knowing how much money that they spent, knowing that all of that shit that's going on in the background, it'd actually be huge for them to win this competition and, sports wash a little bit more.
Hmm.
Um, I do think that Chelsea will get to the semis, but I do think they lose to City, and I think City is gonna advance from the top side of the bracket as much as I don't want to see it. And I do have to agree with you guys that I do think that Bayern has looked really good this year, well, in this tournament. So I'm going for a Man City Bayern final. It has nothing to do with me trying to piss you off, Lauren. It's just my genuine answer. I don't think I think with the signings that Man City have done, I think it's taken them to the next level where they were missing that they were just missing that killer instinct. They got Ryan Turkey, they got Reinders, they got Marmoush, where like we talked about it endlessly towards the end of last season and in the January window. Like, why couldn't Arsenal get Marmoush? Marmoush is a killer. That's the type of player that we needed. Um,
Jeez, that's crazy. Yeah, you're right. Because the bracket that I'm looking at, I don't even know if you guys can see this. Can you guys see it?
yeah.
The bracket that I'm looking at is incomplete, so I didn't even know Man City was there and what side of the bracket that they're on. But I have to change my mind. If Man City's on Chelsea's side, then yeah, Man City's going to the final. Sorry, forget the run it back fairy tale shit. No, no, City's going to the final against Bayern. I can't even lie. So Chelsea
Okay.
would potentially meet City in a semis
Yeah.
based on it's lined up. I see.
Yeah.
Wait, does Real Madrid, if the result stays, Real Madrid is top of the bracket? Like, do you guys know?
That's the part that I don't know because I'm not because Real Madrid were finished first. Hold on, let me see if I can figure this out.
Yeah, no. So it's first. If they finish first, then it's first versus second. City finished what? First or second?
City finished, so then they would go in the bottom side of the bracket against Juve, and then Man City would face Al Hilal.
Well, so there's still some moving parts here.
Because if Madrid go like the bottom side, I still don't think Madrid beat Bayern. They look a little leaky. Like I'm watching the game right now against Salzburg, and like some of the breakaways that Salzburg had, that's a breakaway for Elise or Musiala or Harry Kane. Those are in the back of the net.
Yeah, so it's looking like it's gonna be Al Hilal versus City.
Yeah. So even more so, I think City's a shout for the finals.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You never know. Al Hilal.
Yeah.
You never know.
Over City?
You never know, bro.
They do have a good team. I
Yeah,
don't
bro.
think over
Yeah, I'm not gonna
City.
lie, yo.
I don't think over City, but they have a good team.
Who's on
Like
that team?
Milinkovic, Savic, Mitrovic, Ruben Neves,
Really?
João
What?
Cancelo. They also have Renan Lodi. Missing a few people.
Interesting.
Koulibaly, Malcolm.
Oh, shit, they're stacked.
Yeah, they have Bono and net. Yeah, and they have a pretty decent squad. A pretty decent squad. Um, just quickly before we wrap it up, Ange Postecoglou lost his job to a Thomas Frank, and from the rumors, he's either linked to a job at LAFC, which is a team that Chelsea played, not LA Galaxy. Okay. Um, or Brentford. Brentford have apparently come in for Ange Postecoglou.
Wait, isn't it done and
Oh,
dusted that he signed for
no,
Brentford? No.
no,
Oh.
no,
No, here we go on that one.
no. We haven't seen it. No, we haven't gotten a here we go yet.
Where did you hear that then, Laurent?
Um. Yo, I saw that on a page, bro. It's almost like it seemed official to me, but
Hmm,
I guess yeah.
No.
interesting.
Um, Personally, I would love for him to go um to Brentford, and I would circle the Brentford Spurs games just to watch the reception that he gets. Because I think he was scapegoated, and I think we talked about it. Um, I would have given him until December at least. And I know CJ, you said they showed ambition and stuff, but the manner in which they did it, I don't, because you see a lot of the players coming out being like, we loved you, coach, like you did everything for us and stuff like that. So for me, I would have given him to December at least. Um, but yeah, just wanted to just kind of point that out. Um, any last words, any last thoughts?
Yo, actually, we skipped over. I think that was a pretty big in terms of football that happened in another league. But I don't know if you guys heard, but Lyon got relegated, eh?
Yeah, for finances.
Yeah,
Lyon
yeah,
Yep.
man.
in League One. Oh, so that was legit. I heard
Yeah,
I heard some shit about that.
Yeah,
finances. Yeah.
So
yeah.
what happened, sorry? If anyone wants to briefly
Mm,
explain that.
I think they're in too much debt or something like that.
Wow.
That's yeah,
So they were relegated to second division.
yeah, to League Two, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Financial Leon have been demoted. The league who review of their administrative relegation. Yeah.
Damn, bro. My boy Lacazette, bro. Poor guy.
Lacazette's thing. What's it called? Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Ainsley, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's damn.
Yeah. All right. Another one in the books, fellas. Only thing I have to say is hit that subscribe, hit the bell. We come at you every week. You get these podcasts Friday morning to listen to your drive into the office, or if you work from home, just to have that in the background while you're having your morning coffee. Interact with us. Let us know your thoughts. I pose it to Laurent and CJ, whether it's Eze, Liao, or Rodrigo. Let us know why. Um, yeah, we're here. we're coming up to another month of once a week, and then we're gonna start ramping up back to twice a week as the season kickstarts. But yeah, anything else that you guys want to add before we say the famous extra words?
Yeah, man, the usual like and subscribe stuff. Um, we do this weekly, and again, once the season gets going again, it's going to be back to the twice a week. Right now, off season, once a week. And, thank God we are not doing this twice a week at this moment in time because Arsenal's lack of movement in the transfer window gives us absolutely nothing to talk about. So, yeah, man, hopefully next week at this time, another 7 days goes by and they give us something else to talk about. But yeah, man, we'll be here, man. Like and subscribe. We're here. We're active. And yeah, engage in some of the questions and stuff that we've been talking about today because we posed some good questions in there that are open for discussion for you guys to get in the comments and, give us your input whether it was talking about Gyökeres is going on strike or what are your thoughts? The left winger debate, our striker debate. So yeah, give us your thoughts, man. We want open interaction. That's what we're all about. So like and subscribe, the usual.
Laurent,
Yes, sir. Like my two brothers have said, like and subscribe, right? We're here to drop some hot content for you guys. We love to, do this every week. Feel like, we're also improving, right? It's a work in progress. Keep up with us on the socials as well. As we look to make the content there even more interesting for you guys. Build a community and engage with you guys, all the time. And other than that, for the Chelsea fans, I'll see y'all this Saturday at 4 p.m. versus Benfica.
You sure? 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
All right.
well, on that bombshell, do we fact check him or do we not fact check him?
I didn't. I'm just gonna believe him on this one. I tried to start
Oh,
looking, but I'm like, let me just give my boy
it's
the
okay.
benefit of
It's
the doubt.
okay. We'll
All
we'll
right, all
give
right, all right,
we'll
all
give him
right.
the we'll give him the we'll
Look
give
at that.
him
Look at that. They're not willing to, like go to war this time around. Mind you, man, I don't even have the energy for that.
Yo, quickly before we sign out, when's Jersey Day?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait, what did we say last time? It's either if they win or it's the new season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. So
On
we
that
we're not there yet.
bombshell, I can officially say it. Adios.